Hello, my savvy service providers, scaling to 10K months. Happy Monday. We are here. We are live. We have the internet. If you were here last week, thank you for just bearing with me because we didn't have internet. So I know the quality of last week's video was not great. I was using data. So we have internet this week and here we are. I'm so excited. So today we are talking out booked out but still broke. 3 things you need to consider. I am just so excited to talk about this and have this conversation because I know I talk to so many business owners who are not making the money that they want, but they feel like they're working constantly, consistently. Hi, Sarah. It's so good to have you. Thanks for joining. Let me pull up in the group before I get too far and make sure that I'm actually going live in the group because that's happened before. But we're going to jump in. We've got a really great conversation today. Also, a couple housekeeping things. If you join live, ask your questions, say, tell me your comments. This conversation is for you. I am giving away $100. I've got a week-long coaching intensive that I'm opening this month. So if you, come here and join live and ask your questions, I will gift you $100 off if you book a coaching consult within the next week. So that is our fun giveaway today. Let me get this pulled up. The other thing, and if you are not in South Carolina, just bear with me. I know that we have people all over the country and internationally in this group. But if you're in South Carolina and you care about women's health, they are voting on the total abortion ban tomorrow. So obviously you do not have to agree with me. You do not have to have the same views as me. Do your own research if you don't even know what I'm talking about. It's House Bill 3457. It's the total abortion ban. If you would like to contact our politicians, please DM me. I've got easy resources that you can use. The WREN network is amazing. I just called all my representatives within like 5 minutes and sent emails. So it is super easy. DM me and I'll get you the resources for that just so that we can make our voice heard. Don't know if it'll make a difference. And again, you do not have to agree with me. Do your own research on this. But again, this is the total abortion ban, which I feel is a cruel and reckless policy, but that is just me. So that is our housekeeping. If I haven't lost you by now, sorry, there are group texts and phone calls coming in. It has happened today. But yes, that is all the housekeeping. Let me pull myself together here. There's a lot going on with group text. When you're on a Dance Moms group text, it kind of gets insane. So let me just say that. Okay, so today we are talking about if you're a service provider who's working your ass off, but you're not making the money that you want, it's time for a real conversation. This is kind of the loving kick in your pants. This is something that I, like this time of year, I always come back to this. And I don't know if y'all are like this, but there are just pivotal moments in my life that month or that season every year, I'm kind of in that place again. So this was so relevant for me this time 4 years ago. So if you know my story, I pivoted from low ticket hourly bookkeeping to high ticket VIP coaching services. And that was like May of 2021. So this time in 2021 was when I was really feeling the crunch. It was when I was really like done with all of this. I was thinking that something was wrong with me and something was wrong with my business. And so we're going to have that conversation today because this just feels like such a relevant place that I'm in and I'm reflecting on every year at this time of year. It was the catalyst that literally changed my life and I'm so grateful for that. And so I want to have this conversation and really help you see like what's going on in your business in case you're in that spot. I don't want you to burn your business down. I want you to like be here for this conversation, a real conversation, reflect on things, look at how things are going, and really just kind of, do an assessment and see if something needs to change. So that's what we're doing today. If you're, you're not in this booked out place because you like being booked out and overworked and still feeling like your income isn't enough, you're here because deep down, you're ready for more. You're ready for a change. And spring is just such a great time. I feel like it's just this kind of like it was really cold this morning in Charleston, but there's just kind of this like rebirth and renewal that we're all kind of starting to feel right now. And this is just such a relevant conversation. Like if you are booked out and you're not making the money you want, it's kind of like, it's time for a change. And so we're going to talk through 3 things today to kind of diagnose like where you are, what's going on, what's really kind of the issue here. So I'm going to be blunt. If you're in a place in your business where every extra dollar means that you're working more, that is a problem. Like, it's not a problem for you. It's not that you've done anything wrong. It's just that the structure of your business isn't right. Like, this is something that is part of my framework, or my 4 S's: structure, sales process, systems, and self. And structure is the first one. Like, this is such a big topic of conversation with my clients because it's so hard to make more money if you have to be working more, and it just, the math won't math. And so that is the first place to come back to. So again, we'll also talk about if you're hearing too expensive, or you're too expensive, or you've tried to raise rates before and you've priced yourself out of the industry. Typically with your offer, it's not about your price, it's about your positioning, it's about your messaging. So we'll dive into that as well. And then also, kind of delivering high ticket work and value, but not charging for it, not being like the CEO for that, or the CEO to really create the 5-figure months. That's another thing we're going to talk about. So I've kind of got like 3 main pieces to dive into today. So I always talk about, if you're in that place where you feel broke, you're working all the time, it's typically not because you need a bigger audience. And there are so many people online that will tell you that you do. They'll show you how to go viral or do all the reels and get the reach, but literally you could have 1 million people in your audience. But if your offer doesn't support you being able to support all those people in some capacity, that doesn't mean trading like literal hours for dollars. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't need to grow your audience. I often hear, a lot of my clients come to me thinking they need more experience. Some of them think they need more certifications. I have multiple clients who feel like they need an extra certification or another degree. And it's really like, nothing is wrong with your experience. Nothing is wrong with what you bring to the table. You just need to learn and know how to market it and how to position it and how to tweak your messaging, because all of my clients are so smart, but sometimes they're writing posts like they're writing to a professor, or they're writing to their peers in their industry. And it's just literally a matter of helping them see they don't need more certifications. They need to be able to sell what they've got and sell the services that they have and the experience that they have. So this is where we're talking about a high ticket offer that really allows you to scale. So we're going to walk through the biggest reasons you're still not making the money you want, and, working a lot with a full roster and still like feeling like you can't pay yourself. So again, opening a week-long intensive this month, gifting $100 off to someone who joins live today that I haven't had the pleasure of connecting with, because this is such a big thing with, if you're wanting to scale, if you're not wanting to be fully booked but still be broke, there has to be this different offer. And that is kind of the foundation of the work that I do with clients. It's what I do so many week-long intensives on, is really creating this new offer. But we are going to dive in to the 3 things. But first, let's just talk about 10K months, because I've named the group Scaling to 10K Months. We talk about 10K months all the time in my marketing and in my messaging. And something I really want to speak about is why this is so normal and this is such a practical number. Because we hear it thrown around in the online space, 10K months, and you might be thinking, I just want to get to 5K months, or I'm already at 10K months, I want to get to 50K months. And really, it's not the number that I'm really like worried about. It's really just like the thought behind it. And so many people I know can't give themselves permission to want the 10K months or to feel like it's realistic. They feel like it's just this kind of like pie in the sky number that like the lucky people online who make that, are saying, or people don't really make that. And I'm here to tell you, I've made like, 45 at least consecutive 5-figure months. So that's between 10K and 23K. We typically run around 14 to 23K months. So I'm just here to tell you that is a true and accurate number. People do make this money, in case you're sitting there and you're like, does anybody actually make that? People do. Tons of people do. And but it is not the normal in the online space. So many people don't. But I want to make this normal for you. And I want you to see why this is a practical number. This is something that if you kind of look at what you would pay yourself just to pay your salary, to max out your 401k, to pay team, to save for taxes, 10K is just kind of like a normal number. Like that's just a great number to be able to do all of that. And then, just think of that as being like very reachable. And so I want to start the conversation off first with that, with just the fact that 10K can be so normal and it is kind of necessary. I mean, if you think about 10K months, that's $120,000 a year. That's kind of like a regular job. Like, I mean, I was a nurse and I was an accountant, so a nurse was not making $120,000 a year. I made way less than that, working way more than I do now in my business. So it doesn't have to be hours to hours, but just to frame it so that like if you had a regular full-time job, $120,000 a year is like pretty normal. And so that's even before you take into account team and taxes and 401ks and, the self-employment tax that we're paying, which is both sides. So all of that to say 10K is very normal and doable. So I wanted to just level set with that because I'm very passionate about that. And it's something I have a big opinion about and want to talk about like a lot. So we're going to go into the 3 biggest reasons that you're fully booked, but still feeling broke and aren't making the 10K months you want. And number 1 is that you're at capacity, but your income is capped. And so this is just like the main thing to look at. This is the structure of your business. This does not mean you are wrong or your business is wrong. It means that the structure of what you're offering doesn't support your goals. It doesn't support what you want. And I see this happen so often. It happened to me. It happens to all of my clients where they're just so happy. They're so excited to like start their own business and take on clients, and it's working and people are referring them and clients are referring them and they're getting all this work. And they get to a point where they're like, shit, like I'm full, but I'm stuck at this certain dollar amount. And with my bookkeeping, I'll just give you kind of my view. I was charging hourly, and then I was like, okay, well, I couldn't raise my hourly rate. I could only raise it to a certain point. And then from there, it was like, okay, we do monthly packages where we do your books for the same amount every month. And even still, you can call it value packaging, you can call it agreed upon procedures, whatever you want to call it. That's what I know a lot of service providers do, whether they're VAs, social media managers, web designers, anyone in like healthcare. I work with so many people in the health and wellness industry, and it all comes back to this, like, I can raise my rate up to a certain point, but I'm still capped. And so I tried to look it up. The data is kind of all over the place, but the average women-owned business makes about $7,000 a month. So this is to say that like you could still be doing everything right and still not be at that income that you want. So like, for instance, with my bookkeeping, I was stuck between $5,000 and $8,000 a month, which isn't terrible. But when you think about the fact that I have 3 kids and I was sending all 3 of them to private school and daycare, that was $3,500 a month, like right out of the gate. Like that is getting taken out of my account every month, regardless of what I was making. So that was like my kick in the pants to really like, okay, like I've got to do something about this. So that is to say, like, you're at capacity, but your income is capped. And that is like, there's this analogy that gets thrown around a lot, but I do love it. And it's thinking out a bucket with holes in it. Like you could pour all the water you want in the bucket, but you're not going to save any more water because it's just leaking out and you're wondering why it's not filling up. And it's kind of the same thing here. It's like, you don't need more water. You don't need a bigger audience. You don't need to go viral. You don't need like 50 things that the online space is telling you. You need to fix the bucket. You need to fix the structure of your business, the structure of your offers. So that is really this first piece here. So again, I'll use my personal story. I was maxed out. I was getting up at 4 a.m. just to literally get things done. I took on any client that came through the door. I was just trying to make the ends meet. I was just trying to like, okay, one more client means I could get to this amount. I can cover these expenses. But in the grand scheme of things, it was so not sustainable. It was not intentional. It was burning me out. So the solution was that I needed to pivot. And that is this place where if you are fully booked, if you still feel broke, this is my call to you. And I know so many people just aren't in a place where they're ready to hear this or they want to hear this, but this is kind of this like awakening moment that I had, was that something needed to change, something bigger. It wasn't about raising my hourly rate. It wasn't about going from hourly to like packages. It wasn't about like, let me take on this big catch up project and, let me add this like payroll services. Like it would barely move the needle. And so that might be where you are. And this is just like the loving kick in the pants that maybe you need. Maybe you don't want to hear it. Feel free to leave me comments, leave me questions, let me know where you're at. But this is the fundamental piece. This is the structure. And again, this is why I do so many week-long and coaching intensives around this, because literally everything is based on this. Everything is based on you having the structure in your business to set you up to actually make 10K months. And from there, your messaging is based on this. Your positioning is based on this. Like all your sales process is like based on this, leading up to this. Like this is the nucleus of everything. And so if you feel like you work all the time, but you still feel broke, this is the number one piece. Please, hands down, book a coaching consult. We can see if creating your breakthrough offer in a week-long coaching intensive is the right fit for you, because this is the piece that will change everything. I mean, I've got freaking master classes about just this part, but I'm saying this today because I just can't say this enough, that look at the structure of your business. That is the place to go to before you make yourself wrong, before you try to raise rates just a little bit more. This is the thing to come back to. So let me know if you have any questions or comments, reflections about that. Oh, hi, Summer. I just saw you were here. Thanks for joining. Sometimes my phone doesn't give me the same information as the actual website. So let me know if you have questions, Summer. I want to make this very relevant. I don't know if Sarah, if you're still here too, but I want this to be really good information. This is for y'all. This is not just for me to talk to the ethers for 30 minutes. Okay. So again, that breakthrough offer is about not raising prices, but it's about solving a new higher level problem that people are willing to pay top dollar for. And again, that is what a week-long intensive is for. So I'll put the consult in the DMs. Anyone watching, you can get on my calendar and we can talk through this. Okay, so the number 2 piece is you're attracting the wrong clients or hearing you're too expensive. So this happens a lot. And we know that pricing is about perception, not affordability. If people see the value, they will find a way. So you think about Chanel, they don't drop their prices because someone says they can't afford it. The price isn't the issue. It's how you position the offer. I literally was on a client call last week. She was changing her offer. It was the same one. She was just making it a little bit longer and a little more expensive. And she, the conversation we were having and what she was worried about is the price and it increasing it. And I'm like, the price isn't the issue. If you think making this a little bit longer and increasing the price is going to give someone a bigger transformation, your job is to communicate that. Your job is to show someone that, because it's not the price. It's not about you raising it. I don't know even how much it was. It was like $50, $70. That's not even the issue, but that's what so many people get wrapped up in. That's what I see so many service providers who don't pivot to high ticket think that they can't because they've heard you're too expensive with their lower ticket, hourly, done for you services. And I am a great example of this. I will use myself as an example. I have literally had bookkeeping best fit calls, pitched someone $250 a month for their bookkeeping. They told me I was too expensive. And in that same week, had someone buy my 6-month one-to-one VIP coaching who never, ever uttered the words, "You're too expensive." They said, "That's a stretch." I feel like I'm going to vomit. Yes, I get that, but they saw the value in that. They saw the transformation, whereas the $250 bookkeeping just wasn't. And so I want you to hear this. And if you're I've tried to raise prices, I tried to go from 300 to 500 and people told me I was too expensive, or I tried to go from this to that, or I've never sold anything over X amount before, how could I possibly pivot to something higher? I'm telling you, you can, but it all comes back to the offer, which then leads into your positioning and your messaging. It's about solving the bigger problem and people seeing the transformation, because it's not just about raising prices. And I see this all the time online. People are like, charge your worth. And to me, it's not about charging your worth. That has nothing to do with it. Your worth is not tied in with what you charge or the money you make. We need to unhook that now. I don't want to say I've never used that wording before, but I am very conscious not to use that wording because our worth has nothing to do with our money. So that is just a bigger conversation. But I'm saying with your offer, if you've heard you're too expensive, it's probably because you priced yourself out of those services, because you priced yourself out of you were probably the hands in someone's business. You were probably the hands in someone's wellness journey or doing something for them. But when they're entering this co-creative thing, and you're giving someone a bigger transformation and you're solving a bigger problem, that's when the price is more in the positioning and into your messaging. And so again, this is like where positioning and messaging can be so important. And I've done week-long coaching intensives around this so that someone is so clear on what they bring to the table and how to position their offer as a need to have, not a nice to have. Because that's another thing that I see so often is like, oh, it would be nice to buy that. It would be nice to have that support. And it's like, our high ticket offer needs to be a need to have. And I know so many of my clients will think I'm talking about them, but I have so many of them come to me charging a low rate and thinking there wasn't any way to sell it out at a higher rate, but we do. Like, they have to borrow my confidence. They have to borrow my just being in the online space for 9 years, supporting businesses behind the scenes. I've done one-to-one coaching for the past 4 years. I've been on hundreds of calls. I've spent hours and hours coaching clients, seeing behind the scenes, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, tweaking, changing things, like making a well-oiled machine. And you can be, stuck at selling a $300 offer right now and pivot to a $3,000 offer and have people DM you to buy that. Like, that is so possible. So please take this as evidence. I have so many client examples. I have my own examples. Like, there's so much to back this up. So I don't want you to think that just because you couldn't sell a $200 offer, you couldn't sell a $2,000 offer. Obviously, if you just take that $200 offer and raise the price to $2,000, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about pivoting to solving a bigger problem, pivoting to being like on a journey with someone, co-creating, giving them a transformation, supporting them to more than just be someone, the hands, the information that they're getting that from. So again, so many client results of pivoting from $300 to $3,000. My own experience of the $250 bookkeeping and somebody buying my 6-month VIP, like, there's so much like juicy data to support this. And so that's why I'm such a big proponent when anyone comes to me. That is the question they're asking. Can I really sell this for that? Are people really buying this? Can I really offer this? And it's like, yeah, if you can get someone a transformation and a change, yes, 1,000%. I believe in you. You have to believe in you. And then we do this together. So that is the second piece, is if you're attracting the wrong clients or just hearing you're too expensive, you're not going to be able to scale. You're still going to be full and be broke because you're attracting people who only see you as the hands or the done for you or whatever that service is. So let me know if that makes sense. Let me know if you have questions. We'll keep trucking along. So the third piece, if you are fully booked out and you're broke, you are operating as a service provider. You are not operating as a badass CEO. So this is like all of my clients, I want them to make more money. I want them to get fully booked. I want them to increase their revenue by 3 to 10 to 14 times every month. What I really want for them, because this is the underlying piece of all of that, is for them to go from being just a service provider into being a badass CEO. That is when the shift changes. That is when all of this clicks. That's when their business just pops, is when they stop operating from that service provider, this is what I offer, to really stepping up and being the like CEO that their business needs them to be. So there was just like some data that I was trying to look for, but it was like 60% of small business owners pay themselves less than they would in a traditional job. This kind of goes back to like the conversation at the beginning of this live stream about, what would you be making if you worked in a regular job? And I know so many people who just treat their business like a paycheck and not like the asset that it is. So right now, if you're fully booked, you're not making the money you want, you still feel broke, you're basically running on a treadmill. Like, you can speed up the treadmill, you can run faster, you can book more clients, but like, you're not really going to change anything until you step off the treadmill. I think of it like the treadmill. I also think of it as like breaking out of the matrix. Like that's verbiage that I use sometimes. But it's really just this fundamental shift that you've got to have from being stuck as a service provider, treating your business like a paycheck, to stepping up as the freaking CEO who makes badass decisions, who knows what the business needs and gives it what it needs. And this is so much of the support that I give one-to-one clients. It's not just seeing like, how do we book a client tomorrow? How do we make more money now? It's like, how do we set our business up to always make more, to always have more clients, to know what it needs at any given point? Because what Jordan needs right now on a Monday is different than what my business needs from me. And I have to be able to step back and be that CEO that sees what my business needs, not just like, oh, I wish I had some more likes on that post. You know, like that's probably what Jordan needs. That's what my ego would want. But I have to look and be like, actually, it doesn't fucking matter how many likes I have. It really doesn't matter how much reach I have. Like, I can book clients, and that's what I'm focused on, is being able to have conversions and make connections. Like, being able to see in your business at any given time the problem that you're solving for, the gap to close, being able to step off of that treadmill instead of just going in the same direction forever and ever and ever. Step off of that, pivot to a new way, look at your structure, look at your sales process, look at your systems, look at yourself, because that is what's holding so many people back. And all of us, like I've worked with my coach for years now. I've renewed with her 9 times because I want this support. I want someone reflecting to me when I'm repeating patterns, when I have some lowercase t trauma kicking up, when I'm getting in my own way. Like that is how my business has grown and grown and grown, is because I've just been willing to be the CEO and see what my business needs. Give Jordan, like I give myself what I need, and I get that in like my one-to-one container. So I definitely am not just like ignore what you need and what you want. Like it's not that. It's just seeing your business as separate from you, and what it may need at any given time is probably different than what you as a human may need at any given time. And so having the support to get that reflection and see the difference is just so, so powerful. So again, we use the treadmill analogy. It's not about running faster. It's about stepping off, building a real path forward, building a real path to get you to the money and the clients that you want. Like I realized so much of how I was operating when I was a bookkeeper. It was literally just whatever referral came my way, whatever client referred me, any client that came in, I was basically bending over backwards to try to book them as a client. Like, how can I make my services what they need? How can I make my price what they need? Like, and bookkeeping is so nuanced, so it's not like I could really put prices online anyway, but it just was so like, what do I think that they'll pay? What do I think that they'll give me? And now it's just stepping up as the CEO, like, this is my offer. This is the transformation I can support you to. This is the price. Like, there's no like dancing monkey energy on a sales call. There's no like, who do you need me to be kind of vibe. It's literally like, this is what I do. This is what the transformation can be. And so letting yourself go from, like, I was letting clients dictate my income. I was letting them dictate my work. I was letting them dictate my schedule. So really think about shifting from that service provider who's letting someone else, your clients or the referrals, dictate what you do, and really step up as that badass CEO that your business needs you to be. That is going to be one of the pivotal things to go from fully booked and broke to being like, I'm at capacity, but I am making great money, and I don't feel like, clients dictate my work. I don't feel like they dictate my schedule. I feel free. I feel light. Like that, again, with the offer and the messaging, this just sense of self and coming back to who you are and the CEO, and being able to see that like your actions matter. Like what you do in your business matters. Being able to build up that evidence and see that it's not just like throwing spaghetti at the wall, not something random. That's just something I see to be so powerful when my clients click into that like, oh, I can make shit happen. Like I can promote something. I can get people on calls. I can get people to, and it's not like I can get them, but like I know how to do these things. It doesn't feel like a mystery. Business doesn't feel like a mystery. Yes, sometimes things don't work like they used to. Sometimes our messaging doesn't land like it used to. Sometimes a launch, when we repeat it for the 4th time, doesn't run exactly like it did the previous times. Like nothing is ever stagnant, but it's just this kind of like confident knowing that I am stepping up as the CEO and I trust myself to figure out what my business needs at any given point. And that is such a shift from going to fully booked and broke to stepping into that badass CEO, because you will never let yourself be fully booked and broke. Once you step into that CEO energy, into those shoes, into that 10K version of yourself, you can easily just like look back at yourself and love on yourself and so grateful for that version of you. But that version of you isn't the one that's going to get you out of this offer that's just like low ticket, done for you hourly. You've really got to step in and be the CEO and look at your business from that stance. It's not like, we need to have a sale so I can make some money tomorrow. It's like, oh, I just know that like once I keep doing this, the results keep compounding on top of each other, and I'm here for that. Whether it's today, 2 weeks from now, 2 years from now, business is a long-term game, and seeing that like you trust yourself to stay in it and solve the problem that needs to be solved at any given time, whether it is the offer, whether it is the messaging, where it is the positioning, whether it is conversions, like whatever that is, stepping into that CEO version of yourself. So if any of these points hit home, this is your wake-up call. This is the perfect time of year. This is like, I literally felt like I was coming out from under a rock. It was like 4 years ago this time. COVID was getting better. I had just had this whole personal, like, just literally coming out from under the rock is the only way I can describe it. And I am so excited if you're here in this position too. Like, it is scary, but it's kind of like once you know, you can't unknow. You can't ever go back to being just that service provider who's willing to like bend over backwards and play the dancing monkey and like discount your services and take any client that comes to the door. Like once you know, you know. And I'm so here and excited. If you're in this position, you're just like, I'm done. I'm done being broke. I'm done being full. Like, I hear you and I just want to celebrate you. Like, you don't necessarily need more clients. You just need a better business model. You just need to make these tweaks we talk about today. And I say tweak lightly, but they are big changes. These are huge pivotal shifts. So I do not want to like discount that. But it is to say that like, you're not getting it wrong if you're fully booked and you're broke, because your business is just literally not set up for that. It's not set up to give you those kind of months that you want with fewer clients. So you don't need to reposition your offer. You don't need more certifications. You need to create something that just solves a bigger problem, that gets someone a bigger ROI, and then go out and sell the shit out of that and just work it like a well-oiled machine. Like, that's all I can boil it down to. So if you're here and you feel like this is your time, I got you. Drop your questions, drop your comments. I'm going to leave the coaching consult below. If you want to have a conversation about this, this is a zero pressure call. I've been in the online space for 9 years. I am excellent at diagnosing your business, where the gap is, where the kink in the hose is. So even if we don't work together, even if you don't do a week-long intensive with me, you will still know the gap to close. You still know the next best thing to do to move the needle forward. And I am just so happy to connect with you and tell you that for free. Like, I don't care. I don't want you to spin your wheels for weeks and months and years because you think you need a bigger audience when really you just need a new structure in your business. So let's have that conversation. Again, I'll drop the link below. We'll give you $100 off that week-long intensive if you book within the next week. Let me know your questions. I hope this was super helpful for y'all, and I will be back next week, and see you later. Bye.